Hi folks, welcome to this edition of Broken Arrow in Motion Take 5. I'm Michael Spurgeon, and joining me for this edition is Engineering and Construction Director Alex Mills. Alex, how you doing, man?
I'm wonderful. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. I'm really excited to have you on the show today because we're going to be talking about an important project for our community. Before we do, I always like to take just a minute and visit with the directors or folks that are on the show and find out a little bit about what's been going on with them. So you've been with the city for how long now?
I got here in August of last year, so about 18 months. I'm a Broken Arrow graduate, so I've come back home, so to speak, and really enjoy my job and serving the community.
What do you like most about your job?
I tell you, the people I work with. We have a great leadership team, great employees all down through my staff, and the citizens are wonderful. They're great to work with. They're all about solutions, moving forward, so it's wonderful to work with them.
I absolutely love working with Alex. He keeps things light in our leadership team meetings, and he always has a great perspective on things, and I really appreciate the guidance that he has given to all of us since he took over. He's got an awesome responsibility of trying to help manage the infrastructure of a community, so I just want to say thank you for the job you're doing, Alex.
Thank you.
I wanted you to come on today, as I mentioned earlier, to talk about a road project that's getting ready to start. It's literally right around the corner, and it is the road widening on 9th Street or Lynn Lane between what I would call Flight Safety and Houston. So my first question to you is, where are we at in the construction process right now?
Well, we've acquired all the right-of-way. Utilities are being relocated out of the way right now. We have bid the project, and the award of the construction contract will be going to City Council on the 6th of February. And if everything moves smoothly, we should be out working on the project by mid-March of this year.
Weather permitting, right?
Weather permitting, always.
Absolutely. Well, you know, there's a lot that's involved when you take a road from 2 lanes to 5 lanes. And folks that drive on the road right now have seen the utility relocation. Also, I wanted to mention to you is we've removed a number of homes there as a part of this project. Why did we do that?
In some cases, the improvements put the roadway so close to homes that it wasn't feasible to keep them in place. And in a couple locations, we had driveways that would have been so steep, they would not have been transversable. And so it was advised to acquire those properties. We also acquired one property because we're installing a signal at the Dallas intersection, and we needed to have room for that equipment at that location.
So there will be a signal at Dallas in 9th Street?
There will be a signal.
Okay. Speaking of improvements, what can folks expect when the road is open? What type of improvements are there going to be?
Well, those of you in the area know that coming south of Kenosha, there's a 5-lane section until you get past Flight Safety. Our road improvements will essentially pick up that section and continue it all the way down to Houston. So you'll see 2 lanes northbound, 2 lanes southbound, and a dual left turn lane in the middle. New sidewalks, new signage, that sort of improvement. So new drainage structures, everything. A new water line through that area as well. Well,
obviously this is a very expensive project when you're talking about that type of road widening and those other improvements. What do you believe the cost of the project is going to be, and what was the funding source for the work that's going to be done?
Sure. The contract we're going to award at City Council was for $3.24 million, and that is for the roadway, water line, construction itself. There was other ancillary costs, including engineering, right-of-way acquisition, and utility relocation. Some of those costs are not complete and in, but we anticipate the overall cost of the project to be about $5 million.
Well, you know, we are in the process right now of finalizing a bond package for the voters to consider in late August of this year, and there are a number of road widenings that we're going to present to the voters for their consideration. Typically, to widen a road from 2 lanes to 5 lanes, is it about $5 million?
It could be $5 to $6 million, and it really just depends on the particulars of that project. If you have a large drainage structure involved, a bridge, that can certainly add some complexity and cost. So I think as a rule of thumb, we like to budget about $6 million, but for specific projects, we get specific with our budgets.
All right, so we've talked about that construction should start in about 45 days, weather permitting. We've talked about the fact that it's going to go from 2 to 5 lanes for the rest of the road going south. The second most important question after when are you going to start is when are you going to be done? And when are we anticipating the road will be open for traffic?
Absolutely, and that is the big question. And this is where weather permitting probably comes into play more than the start of construction. Right now we have 270 days of construction time allotted. So if things go well, if we don't run into any hiccups and the weather holds, we should have the road operational by the end of 2018 or the very early part of 19.
So really just a little less than a year then.
Absolutely.
So did you go to the high school that used to be there where Kirkland Field is located?
I did, and it was interesting. I can never keep track of it. I went there as an intermediary high school student, came back as a high school student, and then I was the first graduating class from the new high school.
That's really, really cool. So how do you feel about that they've actually repurposed?
Oh, I love it. I think it's a great use of school land, and I think it's going to be an asset to the community. And I like that they kept some of the original buildings. So.
I do too. I mean, just try to envision in about a year from now when our project is done and you couple that with what the school has already done or is doing. I mean, you get excited to think about that reinvestment.
It's amazing. And longtime residents of Broken Arrow are absolutely not going to believe the transformation of that area. And I think it'll spur residential redevelopment and business development in that area as well.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on today's segment of Broken Arrow Motion Take 5. Alex, anything else you want to finish up with?
Well, I did want to talk about the funding. The funding for this project was two sources: the 2011 GO bond, which we received $2.45 million, and then the 2014 GO bond, we received $3.1 million. And that's how these improvements are being funded. So as the new bond package comes out for a vote, please keep that in mind, that this is where the funding for large projects comes from.
I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because obviously our community has been telling us either directly or through the recent citizen survey the importance of street improvements, and I'm glad that you mentioned those funding sources, because we do need the community support to be able to do major projects like this.
Absolutely.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on today's show. I also want to thank you for the leadership that you provide your department, our organization, and our community, and just wanted to let you know I'm appreciative of all that you do and to keep up the great job.
I appreciate that, sir. Thank you.
I want to thank Alex Mills for joining us today, and also want to thank you for joining us for this edition of Broken Arrow Motion Take 5. Until the next time, take care, and I certainly hope to see you around town.